Hey there, this is Gamers Hot Takes, and today I'm going to be discussing the possible future of the new Super Mario Bros. Series. And now that you know what today's hot take is, and if you're ready for it, let's jump right into this. The new Super Mario Bros. Series has been around for a long time, back in the early 2000s, and recently it's gotten more mundane, and the series isn't very original, and they're very similar to the previous game. And with the release of Mario Maker and Mario Maker 2, along with the world building feature of Mario Maker 2, this has a lot of questions as to where the new Super Mario Bros. Series will head, since those types of games are both 2D Mario platformer games. What I think is going to happen to this series is that it's actually going to switch to 3D. My reasons are why is that with the 2D series, you can't really do much with the type of archetypes of levels that they have. You have the grass, the desert, the ice, the fire, and then you have like the Bowser levels and all that. You can't really do much with 2D because it's very linear. With 3D, you have a lot more possibilities because of the Z axis, and you're able to change up the gameplay a lot more. In 2D games, you're only able to move left and right, jump, and go underground in those Mario games. But with 3D, you can move so much more, and you can make the game so much more than it can be in that 2D ever wants to be. With 3D games, you're able to make it more open world, and you're able to make the levels able to be explored more than 2D levels could ever be. Moving on, in 3D Mario games, you're able to make level gimmicks explored a lot more than they can be in 2D, mostly because of the Z axis, and because with these 3D levels, you're able to put more into them. You have more space to put into these levels than you can in 2D levels. Especially with the simplicity of the 2D Mario levels, moving on to 3D would make it a lot better because of more enhanced level capabilities that 3D games can perform than 2D levels. The 2D Mario games, the new Super Mario Bros. Series, the levels feel pretty much the same. Like each world, it feels like that each level is the same. There's just slight differences in the placing of platforms and blocks and all that, and like hazards if those levels have them. They're not very complex. They feel pretty much the same. So adding on to a third dimension can make these levels so much more because you have so much more room to work with. The biggest reason why I believe that the new Super Mario Bros. Series will move on to 3D is just in terms of originality. I feel like is in terms of because I've played every single one of those games. I feel like there's not much more that they can do with the concept of 2D and originality in these games because they're so simplistic. Because their goal at Nintendo and making Mario games especially is that they can make them for kids and any kid can pick it up and play the game and be able to beat it, even if it means taking liberties in the levels and making easier features in the game. When making this franchise, series, into 3D, they basically erased the whiteboard and they started all over again, pretty much. They started at zero. They can do whatever they want with 3D because it's if they may even change the name as in like it's a different series from the new Super Mario Brothers series, but because they're going 3D, it doesn't have to relate to the 2D games because the 3D games are so much more than the 2D games are. Super Mario 3D World, that is so much more than the recent new Super Mario Bros. U or the deluxe version. It's so much more advanced and, in my opinion, a better quality game because they're able to expand on so many more concepts in this 3D game because it doesn't have to follow the premise of any other 2D game before. Even though it's like kind of a sequel to like 3D Land in a way because it's using like Super Mario 3D something, it's still able to go off of nothing and do whatever they want, take more creative liberties into the game. But with the new Super Mario Bros. Series, as the way it is, they can't really do that because they had the DS one, which was pretty original and it was a pretty good game. It was enjoyed by a lot of people. But then they moved on to the Wii, and that was even more advanced because you could play with 4 people at one time. But then, you started having those level archetypes: the grasslands, the desert, the water level, the ice levels, the fire levels. It's the same mundane thing. And then in the Wii U version, it was literally the same thing with a new coat of paint, and they changed the names of the worlds. Even though some of them didn't make sense, like Soda Jungle in the Wii U version. Like, where's the soda at? There's no soda. It doesn't make sense. They named it something just to name it something different. They didn't actually relate the name of the world into it. Unlike Donkey Kong and like Tropical Freeze, you have this world and each level feels completely different, and you are like, wow, this makes sense. The world name relates to the levels, especially the first world. Like, you're in like, it's like Lost something, and then like this Lost world, you come and crashing it from a plane in the first level. Like, wow, like, and then they have like abandoned stuff. They have like these rickety minecart levels that they have in the first world. They have like this secret temple level, like a banana temple or something. I don't remember exactly. But yeah, they have the world name more implemented into the levels. It still feels like one world, but each level is so different that it feels like you're playing in a new world. But you see this theme, this constant kind of reminder that, hey, this is together. The water levels, they're so different. Some of them you'll be in the water, some of them you'll briefly go in the water, and then you go up to the land, and then you go back down. It's so vastly different in the Donkey Kong games that it outclasses the 2D Mario games. So if Mario kind of wants to go back to that like glory of platforming, I feel like the new Super Mario Brothers series has to move on to 3D, so it's able to start back at zero, so it's able to build from the ground up, and it can do something new and something original, something that would be amazing for all ages to play. Even though the game might be still catered towards younger kids and being able to beat the game, but the level design, the world design will be so new compared to the recent new Super Mario Brothers games, that it's like, wow, this is so much different. Are you sure this belongs to the same series as the other one? Like, you need something different, because like these games, the one that got remade for the Switch, and especially it got remade for the Switch, it wasn't a new Super Mario Brothers game. It was just a remake. So, it's like, why make a new one? Because the remake sold just as well, but it's like Wii U failed, Switch is doing amazing, but they didn't make a new one because hopefully they see that they got to do something new. Nintendo needs to see that they got to do something new. The reason why these games are selling is just because it's got Mario slapped onto it. The proof is that the Donkey Kong game sold a lot less copies than those Mario games that are coming out at the time. Tropical Freeze sold less than the new Super Mario Bros. U game that came out. I last time I checked, I believe that was the case. And if I'm wrong, prove me wrong. And I will be glad to fix it. I'll clear up any misconceptions that I did. But what I believe was that the new Super Mario Brothers games sold more than the Donkey Kong platforming games that came out. Not because the games were any better, because, Donkey Kong's got some great platforming in its games, but just because it's got the Mario name. Mario's so popular, it's one of the most popular franchises there is. Pretty much anything will sell with Mario, like Super Mario Party, wasn't that great. It was kind of a return to classics. It wasn't that good though. It had so few boards, but the point is it sold well because it was Mario. It's got the Mario name on it. And some of those Mario games that come out, yeah, they're really good and they deserve to sell a lot. But some of them, especially the more recent ones, especially the new Super Mario Brothers series, it's got to change. It really does, because it's not doing anybody any favors. It's a platforming game that can waste a couple of hours so you can do something. And if you want to 100% it, that's even more time into it. But these games, they're more for people to play in groups of 4, play together, kind of just mess around, beat the levels, but, trying to kill each other at the same time, because nobody really cares about the platforming because it's so easy to do. But, that's the point. And they're not original, so it doesn't take the player and want to focus on what's actually going on in the level. More like, oh, next level, same world, same thing. Let's beat this and move on. But then when you're playing in 4s, you're messing around, throwing each other, trying to kill each other, because the level design is just so bland and boring that it can't keep the attention of people. What's more fun to them is just messing around with your friends, which is fun. Don't get me wrong. But that's just how mundane the levels are, and this has got to change. So this is why I believe that with 3D, you're able to do that. You're able to make the levels fun and original, and you're able to keep the gamer's attention because you're building from the ground up and not off of something that previously existed. That's all for today's hot take, and if you enjoyed, please subscribe so you will be able to see when I upload more hot takes like this one. And if you have opinions of your own about this, feel free to let me know. And that's all for this Gamer's Hot Take. Peace.